Dear friends, today we are going to discuss about the human relations movement and the contributions of Elton Mayo. This is one of the important area in the study of administrative theory and public administration. But human relations approach, which actually devotes whole of concentration and attention in organization from the perspective of man, based on human being, but not on the based on rules. Industrial organizations are based on production levels. Then because if you increase the production, you will get a more profit. To increase the production, the managements are going to put a lot of pressure on the human beings in organization. Because of that fatigue, unrest, leaving the organization, fighting against of the management, trade unionism, demand for the less working hours, demand for the bonus, all these are started in organizations. How to solve these issues? Where here Elton Mayo has came with an alternative solution, that human relations approach. Before going into the details of Elton Mayo, just will look into the aspect of his life sketch. George Elton Mayo was born in the 26th December 1880 in Adelaide, Australia. People call him as a born psychologist, industrial researcher and organizational theorist. Mayo was formally trained at the University of Adelaide, acquiring a bachelor degree of arts, that is BA, graduating with first class honours, that is a BA honours he completed, but his major was psychology, philosophy, and also he got his master's degree from the University of Queensland in the areas of philosophy. The whole career of the Elton Mayo is in a zigzags. He has tried for a suitable position at various countries. He attended several schools in Australia, Queen's School, Peter College at Adelaide, University of Adelaide, and he attended about a medical school in Edinburgh. He has not completed anything of as a particular profession from these schools. He has attended and he simply say not completing and coming out. In 1903, he went to West Africa for a printing business and he lost in it. He left and he returned to the London and he started writing in articles to the magazines and started working as an English lecturer in the men's college. Again he returned to Adelaide after moving all these part of the world of England, Scotland, Africa. He came back to Adelaide. And in 1905, he started with a printing press business again in Adelaide, but in 1907 he left that printing press business. And later he became, in 1911, he became the foundation lecturer in mental and moral philosophy in the University of Queensland. So this is about a slowly he has moved from one place to another place and started various things. He identified some of the knowledge in each and every aspect, whether it is a medicine, philosophy, psychology, etc. So then in 1919 and 23, he had the first chair of philosophy in the University of Queensland. Then from here, he moved to University of Pennsylvania to USA. He spent second half of his career in the Harvard Business School, that is from 1926 to 1947, where he was a professor of industrial research. Actually, he started working on the areas called this, because of the war, other situations in the First World War and later part, the shell shock soldiers provided a focus for the Mayo interest. Wherever the soldiers were in a severe shock of the shell blast in the war, that's why it's called as a clinical psychology, and slowly he has moved from that clinical psychology to the skills in psychotherapy. As he studied something of a medical area in the Edinburgh in Scotland at the time, based on that slowly he came to psychotherapy. In this he was strongly influenced by the work on hysteria and obsession of the French psychiatrist Pierre Janet, who became a critic of Sigmund Freud. For the rest of his working life, Mayo was an active psychotherapist, and this practical experience was an important influence on his theoretical and methodological work in America. The rest of his life, he concentrated on these particular area of clinical psychology, psychotherapy, and established as a psychotherapist. Elton Mayo, based on this, he started understanding about organizations from a different perspective with this background. How to improve the efficiency levels in organization. This is one of his important criteria, his important point. He says that existing structure of a functioning of organization is not going to improve the efficiency of the people. This realization gave him to rise to human relations movement. Mayo was considered as the pioneer of human relations movement because of his studies on industrial organizations that contributed to a systematic understanding of the human dimensions in organization. So, he started his pioneering work from the early 1920s and provided the deeper insights into the organization. This is called as early experiments as per the Elton Mayo is concerned, because his analysis is based that the level of performance of a person depends on his motivation and mental framework. How a person's performance is going to be improved in a industry. He talks that what is the level of motivation he is receiving from the organization and how his mental framework for that. It is further observed that these attitudes cannot be influenced either by the principles or more monetary incentives. It is exploration of this human dimension that provide a fillip to the entire human relations movement. The important aspect of the Elton Mayo is that people are not going to be happy with only the monetary benefit, monetary incentive. They expect some more things from the organization. Based on this, he started studying about the human relations movement. Mayo found that human body could work efficiently if only the work is planned in a very systematic and scientific way. It is not enough that the work is divided and allotted to various functionaries. This is what he done under the division of work. If you see that work is divided and allotted to various functionaries, that is what we call the division of work. What is the division of work? Work is divided into the various subparts and it has given to various people and ask them to do the work. Actually, we do this as a part of division of work. But Mayo says it is not enough that there are a supervisory levels to monitor the work to the workers. Now, what is happening if I divide the work, work is given to the various functionaries and there is going to be monitored by somebody and we are expecting that division of, because of the division of work, work is going to complete. He says in a physical sense, while structuring all the work is important, how a human being receives the work and how he performs it is equally important. In fact, it is this lacuna that renders the structural approach ineffective. The whole question is, ordered somebody to do the work and expecting him to complete is not enough. Whether he is liking that work or not, that is the most important aspect according to the Elton Mayo. In his investigation, Mayo found that fatigue and accidents in the industry are more a result of human failures and not the failure to the structure. Why the accidents will take place, why the people are fatigued, why they are in unrest, why all the time they are dull. This is not just because of the organizational structure failure, it is a human failure. These are the results of a continuous working conditions and bad industrial labor relations. Therefore, Mayo emphasized the dimensions of human relations in the industrial organizations. There were several divisions. The management had problems particularly with the mule spinning department. Why the labor turnover in all the divisions was about 5 to 6%, in the mule spinning department it was as high as 250%. Actually, the owner was a colonel. Because of his military background, he is taking care of the people very good. But the question is, all the time they are getting a problem in the mule spinning department. The management made different attempts to improve the situation, but no measure initiated them was really helpful. Why particularly in a mule spinning department, the turnover means the people resigning percentage is at 250%. It means you require about 30-40 people, means you have to keep 100 people ready to take immediately. A research team headed by the Elton Mayo conducted a number of studies and came out with the finding that not only the work in the mule spinning division was very hazardous, but involved considerable physical strain leading to physical fatigue, rendering them hostile towards the work. The point is, Mayo along with some team, research team, and there are 2-3 nurses are there along with the team. They identified that this particular division was very hazardous. People unable to move from in the ground, there is a lot of cut threads are there and oil spilling was there. People can't move from one mission to another mission, and the missions are giving a lot of sound. They are unable to talk with each other. There is a physical strain is a lot there. That's why the people are entering to the physical fatigue. By the evening they are becoming dull. So they simply say, youngsters are saying that we are thinking our life completed. Old people are thinking that it is better to die than to work in this spinning department here. In Mayo, in addition to improving the physical conditions of work, suggested introduction the rest periods, 2 of 10 minutes duration in the morning and 2 in the evening. 2 rest periods before lunch, 2 rest periods after lunch before the evening, 10 minutes each. Stop all engines, there will be no sound, people can simply relax. The rest periods were intended to eliminate the physical fatigue. He also introduced a bonus system under which the workers earn bonus in the rest period. And also he suggested another important thing was supply of a soup or a tea or a coffee with the cost of the management at the time of the rest period. These measures had a remarkable impact on the problem. To a large extent was solved. However, the solution led to another problem, that supervisory staff grew jealous of the workers who are resting. One of the important thing is, within a short span of a time of all these things, all people are very good and happy with that system. But the question is, the managers and supervisors are become jealous. As a result, they had to decide to give rest to all the employees so that the workers and the supervisory staff could rest simultaneously. Encouraged by this result, Elton Mayo and his team undertook research in a number of areas related to human relations. Amongst these experiments, Hawthorne Studies are prominent and quite outstanding. So, finally, as a part of the early experiments, he identified one of the important aspect was, in a span of a time from morning to evening, they have only lunch break, the people are unable to discuss or talk or chit chat. Once they have given a time of a 10 minutes break, in the 10 minutes break they started cutting jokes, chit chat and everything, the machine sound is coming down. So, this type of a given boost for all departments and everybody is enjoying, and they are very happily doing the remaining work. So, this is one of the important aspect of the Elton Mayo on early experiments which was conducted in the Philadelphia textile mill. Based on this, another important area has come which has changed the life of the Elton Mayo. This is called Hawthorne Studies. There was a Hawthorne plant in the Western Electrical Company in Chicago, which is having about 25,000 workers and proved to be an extremely rewarding exercise. This experiments whatever he has conducted, so it has given the name along with Mayo. Hawthorne Studies means Elton Mayo. These studies have found a clear-cut relation between a physical work environment and the well-being and productivity of the workers. There were a illumination experiment which is based on a premise that the level of illumination in the workplace influences the level of efficiency of the worker. Actually, this is conducted by the National Science Academy, not exactly by the Elton Mayo. The test was conducted by the National Science Academy of United States of America, and they identified this Hawthorne plant of the Western Electrical Company. These studies are going to be phase 1 is a illumination study, phase 2 also illumination study. The first important aspect is how the improvement of efficiency, how we are going to improve it. They say that the illumination is going to be important. If you have more lights and more lighting is there on the work system and workplace and other thing, people are going to do the level of efficiency will be increased. For this purpose, 2 groups of female workers were selected and located in 2 separate rooms. That is the first phase. They have selected about 2 groups of female workers, each numbering 6 was in 2 groups. The physical environment and the working conditions were constantly changed in order to find out the relations between these 2 variables. Sometimes they are giving about a physical environment change here and there. Sometimes working conditions are changed. They are asking them to put more work. they are asking them, they are removing some of the benefits given, etc. had started and testing them. But what is happening after conducting about 18 months of this study? The research team expected that the result will come wherever they provide all the benefits, the work efficiency will be more. Wherever the illumination was given, work efficiency will be more. But in reality, what happened is, it was found that there was no valid relation between these two variables. If you provide good environment, good infrastructure, good lighting, if you are not providing that also, both teams are performing the same thing. In this experiment, when the illumination in the room was raised, the efficiency did increase as expected. Surprising enough, the efficiency did not decline when illumination was reduced, disproving the relation between illumination and efficiency. So, finally it was a very shocking to the National Science Academy research team. What is this happening? If they provide illumination first, efficiency level increased. They reduced illumination, efficiency level as stand as it is, there is no reduce in this. So, this was given by the National Science Academy has simply withdraw from the research, and one of the National Science Academy research team person attended the Mayo's lecture in some of the college, and they contacted the Elton Mayo and explained about what happened there. Mayo and his team were puzzled by this outcome. Even a Mayo has puzzled how this is happening about. This called for another phase of investigation. Now let us see what is the point inside of the group. If you provide the facilities, withdraw the facilities, provide illumination, withdraw the illumination, efficiency level is increasing. So, how to resolve this puzzle? The further investigation revealed the social dimensions of the organization. They identified about another 2 groups of the girls, again female employees of the 5 members each, and they started checking about their efficiency levels in the same thing. One group was given about a single piece making. So, your one duty of the each person is going to be checked by the evening what they have done. In another group, they have given about a group efficiency. So, the work is given in totality, ask the people to do the work. Then again they found at the end of the day, both teams are doing perfectly. So, what is happening there? So, if you give generally what we think the research teams are think about, provide all infrastructure, provide all facilities, provide illumination, provide good working conditions, there will be good increase of the efficiency. The later they said about identify each person, has given a target to each person, each piece this is your work to do, and another group total is a group activity you have to do, the efficiency level is the same. So, based on this, what exactly is happening? It was found that the informal relations that were developed between the supervisory staff and the workers in the course of experiment, the freedom which the female employees enjoyed, the participation was encouraged. Interpersonal contacts, free articulation of the grievances largely contributed to the increase in the level of performance in organization. These are the important aspects what they identified. The efficiency level increase is not just based on the environmental, structural, illumination aspects, it is beyond more things than that. These were the dimensions which were hitherto unknown to the organizational culture. This gave a risk to the new formulations and greater focus on human relations. This is given a birth of a new organizational culture in the industrial research. This gave risk to the new formulations and greater focus on human relations. The link between supervision, moral and productivity became the foundation stone of the human relations movement. The whole experiment is described as great illumination because it has thrown light on the new areas of industrial relations. First part of this our discussion on the Elton Mayo and human relations movement, we identified 4 important areas. Number 1, the importance of human relations movement in organizational culture. 2, the discussions or the research team identified in the early experiments made by the Elton Mayo that people are going to work more efficiently if they establish informal relations. 3. In the Hawthorne experiment, they identified that illumination, work conditions which is not going to be correct. Fourthly, the important aspect was the people are going to work freely, friendly if they love the environment work systems. This created a new culture in industrial research and organizational systems. For your understanding, I am going to give about 3 questions for you. Write about the importance of human relations movement in public administration. 2. What do you mean by the early experiments conducted by the Elton Mayo?